Hey, Kyle, good morning. I was hoping you could help me out with something. Do I need to install any special software to leverage OnBase APIs?
Hey, good morning, Matt. You might need to, yes. Let me talk a little bit about the underlying architecture there.
That sounds great, Kyle. Thank you.
So, one question that you're going to want to answer is the context in which you wish to access the API. Throughout the various OnBase clients, there are a number of hooks which will allow you to attach a Unity script and inject custom code at that point in the process. This context is referred to as automation, and it runs within an existing OnBase client session. Another context is integration. And this is the API running externally to OnBase, calling into OnBase from an external application, whether that be something that you wrote yourself or another application that allows for connecting to other software. You also have options for different APIs throughout OnBase's history. Various different APIs have come and gone. Currently, there are two of consequence, being Unity and REST. Unity is an older SOAP-based API, and it is capable, or it is available in both the automation and the integration context. Since this API has been around longer, it has more functionality available to it at this time. The REST API, as the name implies, uses representational state transfer. At this time, it is available only in the integration context, although that could change in the future. Being newer, it's currently less fully featured than Unity, although it is continuously growing, getting new features added with each release of OnBase. Eventually, this will replace Unity as the flagship API. Server-side components necessary for this are going to vary depending on which API you choose. The Unity API is going to connect through the same application server that the Unity and web clients do. So if you're using either of these clients, you already have the infrastructure in place that you would need to use the API. The REST API is going to connect through the API server, and it is also dependent on the Highland Identity Service, formerly the Identity Provider, or IDP. The Unity and web clients are also capable of using IDS for authentication. So if you have that configuration in your setup, then you already have all of the components that you need to use the REST API. Depending on the API that's chosen, there are also some client-side components that might be required. With the REST API, there are no special client-side considerations. All you need is the ability to send and receive web traffic. The Unity API requires that you include Highland libraries in the calling application. The two DLLs required for this can be copied from any core-based application. So that would be, application server, Unity client, OnBase Studio, etc. These DLLs are dependent on the full .NET framework. For instances where the full framework is not available client-side, for example, a Linux or Mac environment, there are a couple of other options available here. There has been a Java version of the Unity API around for quite some time, and also starting in EP4, Highland introduced a version of the DLLs that target .NET Standard 2.0. These other versions will have some very minor differences to the full version due to certain functionality that is dependent on the full framework. Okay, so that was a very high-level overview of the infrastructure that you would need in order to use the APIs. Highland makes extensive documentation of these APIs available online at sdk.onbase.com to anyone who has a community account. If you're interested in learning more, I recommend you check out the site. In an upcoming segment, we're going to expand on this conversation and we will talk a little bit about licensing requirements for the APIs.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions that you'd like to see answered in an upcoming Question Corner video, leave us a comment below.